So if the state doesn't matter,
Yes.
then it means the effort of trying to be centered, the sadhana, the practices, does it help? Because, I've been doing these practices, particularly since I came here, the emotion that I've never experienced just keeps on coming and coming and coming and coming. So now I got into practice of being in the center here and now and watching my breathing so I don't go off the center, because if I go off into thinking, the thinking creates emotions. So I'm just trying to be very vigilant not to go into thought and emotions, because if I go there, the emotion will come.
Okay, but when you don't try to go to emotions or thought, it's to see what? It's to realize what?
So I don't become, my mind doesn't go all over the place to create suffering for me.
Okay, but you see, the real non-suffering is when you see who you are. Not to attain a certain balance or aloofness or detachment. It will be temporary. You can lose that.
Right.
You can lose it if you don't make your efforts. Or anything from outside which is big for you, you will lose it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, big weight.
So you cannot even rely on that.
So it doesn't help.
It doesn't help. It helps for your life, let's say, but it doesn't help in the knowledge of yourself. The knowledge of yourself is to realize that in fact you are never touched by ignorance or by darkness, because you don't confuse yourself anymore with states. Because who knows all that what you describe? You describe, you see, states, dresses you put on yourself. No, if you don't take care of that, but if you don't also catch anything, because your realization is just to be who you are as you have always been, where is the problem? Centered, no centered. It's better to put all your... You see, if you try to fix anything, you can be sure it's not about you, but about how you will appear to yourself or to others, doesn't matter. So it's again about appearances. You are never lost, never. It was this illusory belief, because you confused yourself with the body, with emotions, with the mind, with this and that, with states. That belief has to be rooted out.
There's no effort?
No effort, because any effort will reinforce the one who thinks he has to be in a certain way. But this is a good moment. You think so? You think
When
so.
I'm sitting with you, there's no effort. Outside, don't you need an effort?
Remember, to whom this happens. You see, that's why it has been given this tool. It's also in the mind. But if at all you feel, oh, I get here, I'm not so clear as, just ask to whom this happens, rather than, oh, I have to be detached or quiet or centered. This, you see, is typical fitting teachings. Teachings to be transformed in a better being, eventually up to sainthood. Different, I don't criticize, it's just a different, very different search. So what I say cannot apply to that search. But you see, if it is about who you are, means you are absolutely not what you think you are, what you think it happens to you, and so on. You just have to be reminded again and again it's about that and not about a state. And one day you are totally convinced by yourself. Totally convinced, you see. And even this, it's difficult. It's the jerk of the body and the mind who has been used to be used all the time. But I tell you, that also goes.
So there's some deepening on the way until you really get it. There's a deepening or transformation.
I would not say so, but maybe it happens naturally, but it will be very different from this guide and to you and to me. You see, it is, you cannot say it will happen like this. Those events during the journey of the search, they are totally different for everybody. And the answer of the guide will be also very different from one demand to another. But in fact, the only thing which is to be indicated is don't believe in your mind. And when I say mind, maybe by now you have understood I include everything you can know. Yeah. I wish it's true, this would be a better indication to just laugh.
But is there before and after?
Ah ben non. Ah non.
No?
No.
No?
When one can tell, when he speaks of his stories, oh, and there was this big bang of realization and this and that, it's when it's around a cup of tea between friends and this happened to me and this and that. But you know, the one who really wants to tell what is, nothing happened. Because if you confuse this event, an event for who you are, again you are caught. Yes. That's why, from your country it came this beautiful sentence. What's your face before you are born? Is there any before then? Is there any before? The mind creates before. The mind understands that. But you see what you did so far maybe enables you to hear this now. So don't worry for what you did before, but then try not to continue that way, because you could hear something else.
I can hear something else other than what I've been doing. Huh?
Yes. Because you have done that probably, in your case it has been that. Now you hear something else, which gives you a very good laughter, a very good... You don't touch your mind then, you see.
But even asking who does this thought occur to is a practice.
I know, but dear, if you ask that, it's because you think there is something wrong just now. So that is a tool which will throw you back where you don't need an answer. So where you are again freed from your mind.
So you can use it as the last tool.
Yes, not repetitively like a mantra also, but when really something is occurring to you, you are conscious of something and for some reason you feel there is still something, this is the best tool. Then what else? That's why it has been given by Ramana. It was extraordinary to give that, but it's a tool, of course. But he says also, don't land no platform as an answer. You don't land anywhere. Huh? It's just an illusory tool because you believe you are in an illusion yourself. So that may remove the whole thing. Otherwise, there are other ways also. You don't need. That's to remind you if you need, if you feel you need. If you feel you need, surely you are in some illusion.
So that this tool is better than other tool, like I try to be here and now, or concentrate.
You can't. This is here and now. You can't. The here and now you speak about is in time, because it concerns your emotions, your mind, and your body. It's in time. It's not the here and now of who you are. It's conditioned. You see all the practice with their eventual achievement, it means the success of the practice, are based on a first illusion regarding really who you are, because it means, oh, I'm not all right now. Because of the practice, I will attain what is supposed to be real or the truth. And then eventually you go there, but then it means it was based on the belief you were not. All that is in time is in the mind, you see. And so it will be destroyed at some point. It will be. And then what? You've again to search. You see, we don't have in life always the energy for that. So when you have very good energy, rather put it in the right direction. Now. But not everybody likes that, I agree. But if you like that...
Ramana Maharishi said that to whom does this thought occur
Oh,
to
yes.
is good for the people who are...
Yes, excellent, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I heard it, I read it in Ramana's book, that it's different from all other practices.
It's very different. You try now, you see, what you want to be centered and all that, and if you ask, but who wants to be centered? Who is not centered? or who is centered, whatever is there now. It brings you in a very different nowhere, I would say, but it's very different. And I would say that is a perfect direction. Yes. What's your name?
Sky.
Sky. So you would say, I am called Sky, yeah? What's your name?
Satya.
I am called Satya. How are you called?
I'm called I am.
get you. Very good. Very good. So, if you remove sky, cold sky, if you remove cold satya, if you remove what remains?
I.
I. Now try to stay with I alone. Just a moment. I alone. And whenever a thought comes to give something to I, you don't look at it. So, even without your name, you are still there, isn't it? And what happens if there is no name? What you would say?
I.
Simply, I. And you? You don't need to think, just... Who are you then if you have no name? Oh non, souffle pas.
I would rather not say anything.
Yeah? Okay, and you, Sky?
I don't know.
Ah, that's quite good. And you are still there, beautifully.
Kind of.
I said a kind of.
I know. Okay, very nice. Oh, look how beautifully done.
For counting boutique.
Ganga. My mind is puzzled with something. When you say that the mind cannot comprehend that one is neither silence nor noise, I find that my mind can understand that very well.
It can understand.
Because my mind can very well understand that states come and go, and that therefore states have no reality, intrinsic reality.
Right.
So my mind is clear about that, and that gives me some kind of restful state.
Even a kind of wisdom.
Yes.
But you see, if your mind is not, if you rely on your mind,
that's the problem.
that is the thing. That's why it is said you have to realize. It's not enough to have a clear mind. But of course, you get a clear mind. But it's still a mind.
Yes.
You cannot rely on that. It will give you a very bad surprise. So, but in fact, you are all the time who you are. So if you can,
even my mind can understand that.
The mind. But no. Since you are, why do you need the mind then?
I don't.
You don't.
I know I don't.
You know it. Okay. Yes. But then don't use this tool for a while. What will happen? I tell you, now you are very healthy in mind, in the body, but you never know. You cannot rely on that. If you are obscured suddenly by anything, then since you depended on the clarity of your mind, you will be unhappy, you will suffer because you can no more know who you are. Because otherwise, if you don't rely on your mind, it's because you are always who you are, but your mind is clear or even not. But then you will not suffer because you never depended on that. A big difference. That's why I was telling one day, you never know how you will die. And it doesn't matter, in fact. Because how can you be sure, even if all the years you have been one-pointed and thinking only about that, which is eternal and without beginning and end? You never know. You never know last minute if you still will have this clear mind. Some may die this way, but because anything is possible in this world, but you cannot be sure for yourself. You will be one of those. So don't rely on your mind. This, you see, I would call it's an attainment of the mind. He has a clear wisdom. He's wise. He's wise. It's not enough. You have to be wise even with a cuckoo mind.
But my mind can understand and even knows that it is not enough and accepts that.
Yeah,
and
the
agrees with it.
acceptance is funny.
And agrees
How
with
can
it.
you accept that?
that the mind has its own limit?
Yeah, and be quiet about it.
Yeah.
How come? Then tell me, I'm interested. How come?
Out of it being absolutely obvious, it has become obvious.
Like what? What?
That the mind has no access there.
Yeah, okay. But is it about the mind?
No.
No. So you don't need your mind now.
No. I.
Huh? I.
Just I, right? Need I to exist.
Yeah, but you don't need. You don't need that. Because
Okay.
okay.
I can even understand that I is not needed. For
But all is understandable in a way, you see. So, what is missing now, I would say, is to you. It's that you still use the mind as a reliable and wonderful tool. That's why you accept. You see, you are happy because you are wise now. But you are wise in the world, and then it's in the manifestation that you are wise. You have to be freed even from a wise mind. Because the wise mind will know. He knows, he understands. Yeah, he has flashes, insights, and probably better and better discrimination, and all that, you see. And will you agree that this mind was not always like that?
Definitely not.
So it's an attainment of the mind because of a serious search. So you cannot confuse that for who you are, who doesn't need any transformation and who was never something to be transformed. But then the mind because yeah, but that is your hindrance.
The mind even finds it obvious.
No, but that you see, you use your mind, then it doesn't allow you to realize it, because you can realize the moment I say it. But if that is the trouble of the mind. You see, he's wise. You agree it's an attainment because he was not like this before. Okay, so you use this to understand better and better, and you will understand better and better, deeper and deeper. But then, if you still have this companion with you, you are not freed from the mind.
No.
So if you are not freed from the mind, you are still a I who is born, even if the mind tells I'm unborn.
Yes.
So you don't allow yourself to free yourself. the beginning of the search, the difficulty is to be wise. But then if there is if there is time in that, then the difficulty in the end is to be wise. Because it was never about the mind. But we could not listen that we never have been bound. Never we have been ignorant. Because we look, I am ignorant, look at my mind, is still obscure. No, I'm not ignorant. I have an enlightened mind even. But you see, it's all about the mind. Not about who you are. Mind will die. And who you are doesn't need any attribute. It doesn't have any attribute. Who you are doesn't need wisdom. I understand.
It's clear.
Clarity will not do. It's very clear. Clarity will not do.
It helps though, no?
Not now.
Not now, yes.
Not now. Not now.
But I also know it's not through any effort or non-effort that, effort or not effort will not change anything.
Yeah, would not change anything. So that your mind is wise or not, it will not change anything.
No.
No. But then let it be not wise also then. Let us see.
You can do that very well as well.
Yes, all in hands. And the search is gone. You need a big beating because you hesitated. A big beating. You had to think.
For the right answer.
Yes. Yes. You depend on right answers. Big beating. You see, how can you have a right answer? Then it means the mind can tell some truth. Then what I said in the beginning, that is noisy, obscure or silent and enlightened, is not about that. But the thing is, if we still identify with the human being, it has this very rooted archetype of Buddha meditating. This is the wisdom. I would love to be like that. Everybody has this kind of image, you see. It's an archetype in the mind. In the mind. So we have not to fix anything.
The mind is the pretender.
The mind.
It's pretending everything.
Yeah, pretends. So, you can trust a pretender? Can you? No.
It was great what he said.
Yeah.
It was really...
It was beautiful in the last DVD of Master because about the right answer. You see, when that lady was after meeting men of 300 years, he said, "Oh, I have 35 millions of years." It's a great lesson. It just he tells anything he likes, anything he likes, and it's perfect. Yeah. It was extraordinary.
Yeah. I think I understand it now even more
Better.
clear. It was already funny.
Yeah. It's even
But
more
it
than
really
funny. It's more than funny.
Yeah.
It's just outrageous. Outrageous of freedom. No, it's
Yeah. How crazy this is.
So it's really not about wisdom at some point.
I want to tell a dream that I had, and it's the dream came after I had a period now of time where I was deeply fascinated suddenly by astrophysics and the miracles of creation, and I was reading some things, and it was deeply fascinating.
It is
Yes.
fascinating.
And anyway. So, and I dreamt that I was somewhere and there was a woman, and she had the eyes closed and she was having incredible experiences, like inspired by what I read. So, like very deep, amazing experiences of realizing, of realization. And I saw that, and it was just like, to me, like a talking mind.
Okay.
So there was nothing there.
Yes,
That was what
wonderful.
I dreamt.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Probably It's all what you loved before to know and all that, and now it's demystified.
Yeah.
Demystified. Yeah, there is nothing more there than anywhere else. It's one thing, you see, to distract oneself and to love the subject, but to confuse oneself with some knowledge or some experience, that's another thing.
Yeah.
So you are relieved.
Yeah. Of what the mind does with it.
So now you have seen that, isn't it? So now just remain quiet with the one who saw that, not with what has been seen.
Yeah.
I feel very grateful for your satsang. So amazing, so amazing.
I wonder from where they come from. It's not from me, but some satsang. Yes, it's great too. You see, sometimes if I remember when I was searching, it's good that sometimes a guide is there even to what he has to say, no? But so in that big illusion, it looks like it still needed this way.
Yeah.
Some
When you speak about your master's outrageous freedom, and it is alive here in front of me.
I have no idea. Okay. Sorry to look at. It's very early today. It looks ages. So I'm very happy with you, but it's very little time. You see, there are many stories. Now I come back. I don't know if you like that I bring you always back to Japan, but you may remind me of Japan, and I love those stories of Zen and you know. Okay, this Lindsay, he was a great patriarch. Rinzai.
Yes.
Okay. his master was Wangpo. Wangpo. I don't know, I pronounce like a French, but whatever.
It's Chinese anyway.
Yeah. So this man May I continue? Okay, this was a great disciple of Wangpo. And then he wanted to prove, of course, to himself, but he would have been very happy if his master was passing by at that time, that he was totally absorbed. He didn't care about anything. He was just absorbed in, let's say, silence, or in himself. Yeah? And he was alone. The time of meditation for other monks were already off, but he stayed 2-3 days. So his master was wondering, what about Lindsay now? Lindsay. And very quietly, like a cat, he goes into the room of meditation and he sees him in very deep meditation. And Lindsay, who probably his deep wish was that his master saw him. It just sensed master is there. And then he left. Wangpo left. Wangpo left to his room. So he felt like if it was the biggest stick he got on his back. And he went rushing and prostrated to his master. Because his master denied the beauty of his absorption, because he was fixing reality into that shape. You see. So we can read many stories like that. But you see, if we apply to what we know, we are often into these experiences. And it was not accepted. It comes, but don't try to fix as reality or to fix it to make it bigger or longer, whatever. You see, it's very amazing. And my own master, those many know about him, you see, he broke also this deep longing to sit and to be quiet and all that, because living with him, we had to go to kitchen, we had to do this and that, and sit also hearing commentaries or simply sitting, and then again get up for this and that. He really showed not to have preferences, not to make differences, which is the cancer for separation. The cause, yes.
It's so radical.
It is, you have to, otherwise, you see, if you give one thought rise as a truth or interesting or attractive or truthful thought, you separate the sky and the earth. Means you are in full samsara again, means cycles.
Because I met one of Papaji's students.
Yeah.
Who became a guru with another tradition, Nisargadatta tradition in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And she said she has preferences.
Gotcha. She prefers to be a guru than a student.